Hello everyone and welcome to the Skyscrapers Corner. When you hear the word skyscraper, your mind probably jumps straight to the Empire State Building or a gleaming glass and steel giant in Shanghai. But for the vast majority of human history, if you wanted to look at the tallest structure on Earth, you didn't look for a corporate headquarters, you looked for a cross. From the year 1311 all the way to 1884, churches and cathedrals were the undisputed champions of the global skyline. For over 500 years, the tallest man-made structures on the planet weren't built for multinational corporations. They were erected for the glory of God. Get ready for the story of the holy race to the sky, a centuries-long competition where the stakes were impossibly high, the budgets were divine, and gravity was a very real, very dangerous problem. Part 1. The Spire of Doom. For almost 4,000 years, the Great Pyramid of Giza held the ultimate height record. Prior to the 12th century, if you wanted to build something massive, you had to play by the rules of Romanesque architecture. That meant incredibly thick stone walls and tiny windows. If you pushed a building too high, the sheer outward pressure of a heavy stone roof would force the walls out, bringing the entire structure crashing down. Then came the Gothic Revolution. Medieval builders engineered a brilliant trifecta of structural innovations that shifted physical forces, allowing churches to soar to unprecedented heights while opening up the walls for breathtaking stained glass. In 1311, the central tower of England's Lincoln Cathedral was raised to its present height of 83 meters, or 271 feet. To overcome structural challenges, builders topped it with a towering, lead-encased wooden spire. With this spire, the cathedral reportedly reached a staggering 160 meters or 525 feet, making it the world's tallest structure at the time, though some consider that exact measurement doubtful. These massive spires fueled early debates about building heights. Building that high in the Middle Ages was essentially a game of physics roulette. Lincoln Cathedral managed to hold the record for 238 years, until a massive storm blew the spire right off in 1549. Next up was St. Olaf's Church in Tallinn, taking the title at 159 meters, a position it held until 1625. However, being the tallest structure in Northern Europe turned it into a literal lightning magnet. It burned down after being struck by lightning 8 separate times. The crown then passed to St. Mary's Church in Stralsund at 151 meters, but lightning burned its spire to the ground just 22 years later. By 1647, holding the tallest church title was starting to look like a cursed crown. It seemed that if you built too high, the sky eventually fought back. Part 2. The Pink Giant of Strasbourg. After the deadly Spire of Doom era, the record-holding mantle safely fell to the Cathedral of Strasbourg in France. For the next 227 years, this architectural marvel stood as the tallest building in the world. But what makes Strasbourg truly special isn't just its 142-meter height, it's the look. Built from Vosges pink sandstone, the cathedral has a distinct rosy hue that shifts depending on the light. Architecturally, it's a high Gothic masterpiece that pushed medieval math to its absolute limit, but it is equally famous for what it doesn't have: a second spire. The original blueprints called for 2 symmetrical towers, but the second one was never built. Some say they simply ran out of money, while others argue the ground couldn't support the sheer weight. Regardless of the reason, its asymmetrical silhouette became a timeless icon. While other churches were burning down or falling over, Strasbourg stood firm. Featuring a solid stone spire, it survived the French Revolution and several wars to hold onto its crown for over 2 centuries. The legendary writer Victor Hugo famously called it a prodigy of the giant and the delicate. Part 3. The 19th Century Blitz. Fast forward to the late 1800s, Gothic architecture was suddenly trending again, and when mixed with a growing feeling of European national pride, the holy race took a dramatic turn. In a span of just 20 years, a rapid-fire rivalry between France and Germany saw the record broken 4 separate times. First, Germany's St. Nicholas's Church in Hamburg pushed the record to 147 meters. Just 2 years later, in 1876, France snatched the record back with the completion of the Rouen Cathedral, using a cast iron spire to reach 151 meters. It was a controversial fusion of ancient stone and modern metal. In 1880, after a staggering 600 years of construction, Germany's Cathedral of Cologne finally took the crown when it was finished at 157 meters. This massive, twin-spired Gothic behemoth became a powerful symbol of a newly unified German empire, and it still dominates the skyline today. Finally, in 1890, the Almünster in Germany reached 161.5 meters, specifically designed to be taller than the Cologne Cathedral. However, there was a catch. The Washington Monument had already claimed the title of the world's tallest man-made structure at 169 meters or 555 feet. So, while Almünster became the tallest church in the world, a record it holds to this day, the era of churches ruling the overall skyline was fading. Or was it? Part 4, The Modern Era, The Return of the King. From the 20th century onward, the reign of the church ended, as secularism, steel, and innovation took the spotlight. The invention of the elevator to bring people up, paired with the use of concrete and steel, kicked off the race of the modern skyscraper. Almost overnight, historic churches were rapidly overshadowed by these new masterpieces. But the holy race isn't quite over. In Barcelona, work is nearing completion on the Sagrada Familia. Antoni Gaudi's magnum opus has been under construction since 1882, and once the finished central tower of Jesus Christ is fully realized, it will reach 172.5 meters or 566 feet. Gaudi chose this specific height for a deeply profound reason. He wanted it to be the tallest church in the world, but he insisted it remain exactly 1 meter shorter than the nearby Montjuic Hill. In Gaudi's own words, the work of man should not be superior to the work of God. We may be far from the staggering heights of the Burj Khalifa, but the Sagrada Familia is definitely part of the greatest architectural achievements of humanity. Even in the shadow of modern glass skyscrapers, the holy race is still going on meter by meter, stone by stone. From the wooden spires of medieval England to the modern stone of Spain, the quest to build closer to heaven has pushed human engineering to its absolute limits. We might live in the age of glass skyscrapers, but we should never forget the stone giants that showed us the way. The next time you're in a city, look past the corporate logos and find the oldest spire because you're looking at the original skyscrapers of history. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite church, and see you next time.